There are 3 magical kingdoms in the far, far north that are a food world unto themselves. I'm Valentine Warner, an adventurous cook on a culinary journey. Travelling across Denmark, Norway and Sweden, bringing delicious dishes to your kitchen from Scandinavia. This time, I'm in an epic battle over the best Swedish meatballs.
Oh, there's a bit of a sweat on. It's getting competitive back here.
And meet artisans who are passionate about some Scandinavian food treats. And they're not always what you'd expect.
It's dark and interesting. It's licorice.
I'm in Sweden's capital, Stockholm, to hunt down the national dish and engage in some competitive ball games. Every food culture has its own meatball, and the Swedes like to think that theirs is the definitive version. So much so that they run classes to teach foreigners how it's done at the Backpackers Hostel, under the watchful eye of manager Leanne, who'll be judging our dishes. But I'm feeling a little cocky and want to add a few twists of my own to see if I can improve on their sacred classic.
As I've travelled around Sweden, I've been really paying attention. I think I know what I'm talking about to a degree, and I've entered a meatball off in a youth hostel. In the brown corner is Kevin. He's actually not Swedish at all. He's from Northern Ireland.
But that doesn't detract from the fact that he's the resident expert on this classic dish.
Kevin, I've heard a lot about your meatballs.
I haven't heard anything about yours.
OK, fine. Well, they might become infamous. Kevin's off to a bit of a head start, so I thought I'd catch up with my shallots. He's using onions.
My sweet shallots get sweating in the pan, and Kevin starts his meatball masterclass.
So, traditional Swedish meatballs are half pork and half beef.
But I'm using a mixture of pork and veal, to which I'm adding some breadcrumbs, same as Kevin, a splash of milk, an egg,
2 teaspoons of allspice.
And I'm freestyling with a seasoning of nutmeg and white pepper.
You've really got to get your hands in there. Oh, I forgot my shallots. What do you think?
It looks good.
Warner's Corner, streets ahead. I'm being a bit arrogant, really. These are probably going to be a horrible disaster. Are these the right size?
I make them a lot smaller.
Well, these are big balls.
They're big balls.
OK, I think that's better.
All right, how are we getting on?
Of course, for this recipe, and all my recipes, not Kevin's, can be found on the website.
goodfoodchannel.co.uk/Eat Scandinavia. My golf balls get fried but not heated right through because it's time to make a creamy, tangy sauce.
So I'm just going to put in a little bit of flour, just under 2 tablespoons. It's very important to cook the flour out, get rid of that horrible dry taste.
A splash of white wine.
Kevin doesn't have white wine in his. I've now got to put in some white wine vinegar, about 2 tablespoons. OK, now I'm going to start adding chicken stock. Beef stock would be fine as well.
Oops.
Oh, there's a bit of a sweat on. It's getting competitive back here. Right, now I'm going to add my secret weapon, a bit of Swedish mustard, a little bit of sugar. That kind of Swedish sweet and sour thing, they use a lot of vinegar and sugar together.
And I'm thickening my sauce with creamy creme fraiche.
Don't be tight. It's looking thick and glorious. It's slightly sour. It's got a sweetness to it. There's a nice kick of mustard. And they're going to cover it with dill. And I think it'll be really nice.
That doesn't go in meatballs. That's wrong.
Now, what do you think that there is not one grandmother or mother in this country who puts dill in their meatballs?
I think if she did, we would shoot her.
So, Leanne is our judge. And judges, referees shouldn't be biased, but I think this is a foregone conclusion now. Whereas Kevin's cooked his meatballs all the way through, mine are uncooked in the middle, and I want them to cook out in the sauce. So all that lovely porky, veal-y, juicy, spicy flavour is going to leak into the sauce. Kevin, are you making a sauce?
Yes. In mine, it's corn flour and water, just as a thickening.
Yeah.
Beef stock, and the traditional Swedish ingredient of soy sauce.
Is that a classic Swedish meatball sauce?
It is a classic Swedish meatball sauce.
So you're all ready to go?
I'm ready to go. I can keep mine warmed up while we wait.
I'm just worried about all your hungry guests. Leanne, look away, cover your eyes. What has he done? So here are my non-Swedish meatballs with the vinegar and dill sauce, and here are your classic Swedish meatballs. Leanne, it's all down to you.
First, Kevin's traditional meatballs.
The sauce could actually do some improvement.
But the meatballs...
But the meatballs are really, really good.
They're really, really good. They're
really
absolutely
good.
delicious.
And now for my Whoppers with a dangerous amount of dill.
They're good. They're all right.
They're all right?
Yeah.
OK. But it doesn't remind you of home or granny or anything? No?
I'm afraid not, no.
Fine. Well, Leanne has spoken. These are not Swedish meatballs.
But our judge's decision needn't be final.
Kevin, please be curious.
I'm going to shoot myself in the foot, but I had to go with his.
But you're not
I'm not
Swedish
yeah.
at all about this.
Come here, you big Irishman. Great.
So the only Swede in the cafe, our judge Leanne, wasn't won over by my large dill-flavoured meatballs. But there's one thing we all agree on. These meaty balls are best served with a light mash of potato and lashings of the national preserve, sweet tart lingonberry jam.